In our 5th year of marriage, my wife forced me to divorce her for the sake of the puppy boyfriend she was keeping outside. Blinded by rage, I got into a car accident. When I woke up, I realized I had lost my memory. Staring at the divorce agreement in front of me, I read it several times, then decisively signed it. Are we going to get divorced right now? Laura was stunned. Chapter 1. Laura walked in while I was still spacing out. It had taken me 2 days in this hospital bed to come to terms with the fact that my wife was a billionaire CEO and had a puppy boyfriend outside our marriage. Looking at the noble and beautiful woman in front of me, I couldn't blame my past self for being so obsessed with her. She really was stunning. Laura narrowed her eyes at me suspiciously. You really lost your memory? I nodded. Didn't you have the doctor check me like a dozen times? Laura said coldly. Elias, you better not be playing games with me. I was speechless. Did she seriously think I was faking my amnesia? So, how much money are you planning to give me in the divorce settlement? Since I couldn't keep her, I might as well keep the money. Laura looked at me like I'd lost my mind. What did you just say? You agreed to the divorce? It wasn't hard to understand her shock. Word had it that before the accident, I was madly in love with her. Just days ago, when she mentioned divorce, I was still on my knees, crying and begging her not to leave me. And now I'd not only agreed to the divorce, I was negotiating for money. I let out a sigh. Fruit that isn't ripe won't taste sweet no matter how hard you try to pick it. If you don't love me anymore, there's no point in forcing it. Let's get divorced. I used to be a food delivery guy. 5 years ago, while on a delivery, I happened to run into 2 thugs trying to harass Laura. I stepped in and saved her. It was love at first sight for her. I fell hard too, and we got together quickly. Not long after, I found out she was an absurdly wealthy CEO. Knowing that I, a broke nobody, didn't deserve her, I tried to break up with her, but Laura refused. She even said I was the only man she'd ever love in this life. Her parents, on the other hand, looked down on me and didn't want their daughter marrying a poor loser. To marry her, I had no choice but to become a live-in son-in-law in the Lin family. But then Laura changed. She started staying out late, grew distant, and eventually demanded a divorce, all for the sake of her puppy boyfriend. And I continued loving her hopelessly, until the accident took my memories away. I clicked my tongue twice. If women could be trusted, pigs would climb trees. Laura eyed me suspiciously for a long while before finally pulling out the divorce papers. I opened the agreement and rubbed my eyes in disbelief, worried I'd misread a zero. Holy crap, 90 million. I was rich now. Tears welled up in my eyes as I looked at Laura, too overwhelmed to speak. Babe, any chance you could round it up, make it an even 100 million? Laura was completely stunned, then frowned in annoyance. Seeing that, I gave up bargaining and cleared my throat awkwardly. It's fine. Really, this is a lucky number anyway. Worried she might change her mind, I quickly picked up the pen and signed my name at lightning speed. Are we going to the registry now? Laura had kept a puppy boyfriend while we were still married, which was a huge emotional blow to me. So the 90 million breakup settlement was totally justified. She glanced at my hospital gown and reminded me, you're still admitted here, right? I almost forgot I was still a patient. Then let's finalize the divorce after I'm discharged. Laura didn't respond. With a cold expression, she turned and walked out. As soon as she left, I looked down and counted the money again, grinning while imagining how I'd spend that massive fortune. Chapter 2. 10 minutes later, my buddy Pablo walked in with a lunchbox. Elias, time to eat. I glanced at it, a cheap 10 yuan takeaway meal. Just looking at it killed my appetite. I'm not eating that. Go to the 5-star hotel next door and bring me 2 portions of premium seafood. Pablo's eyes widened. Are you nuts? That'll cost thousands. I held up the divorce agreement for him to see. You see this? Laura gave me 90 million as a breakup settlement. I can eat whatever I damn well want. Pablo's eyes lit up as soon as he saw the number. Holy crap. Bro, you hit the jackpot. The Lin family was indeed wealthy, but as a live-in son-in-law, I'd always been treated like an outsider. Pablo knew all too well that I'd basically been living under someone else's roof all these years. He suddenly asked, you agreed to the divorce, don't you love Laura anymore? Pablo and I were tight. He knew how I used to feel about Laura, but now, I had amnesia. Naturally, I felt nothing for her. To me now, she was just a stranger. No, more accurately, my sugar mama. Besides, when there's that much money on the table, love isn't even worth mentioning. I waved my hand. Women are like clothes. Now that I'm rich, I can find whatever style of wife I want. Why hang on to someone whose heart was never with me to begin with? I raised an eyebrow. Once the money hits my account, bro, we're eating good and living better. Pablo nodded excitedly. I'll go get you that fancy seafood right now. My injuries weren't that serious, just a bump on the head that caused my memory loss. Doctors couldn't determine the exact cause, but said I could be discharged anytime. So the next day, I went home. As soon as I stepped inside, I saw a young man standing in the living room, baby-faced, soft-skinned. Couldn't be more than 20-something. Rumor had it he was a college student. Must be Romeo, Laura's puppy boyfriend. Laura and I hadn't even officially divorced yet, and this kid already acted like he owned the place. The nerve. When Romeo saw me, his eyes flashed with contempt. I couldn't be bothered with him, but he made the first move, picking a fight. Some people just don't get it. You've already been dumped. Why are you still clinging on? My temper flared instantly. I marched up to him. And who the hell are you? Exactly. Get out. Romeo was just about to reply when he suddenly dropped to the floor, sitting there pitifully, looking up at me like a victim. I really love Laura. Bro, please let us be together. I'm begging you. Laura rushed over, looking flustered. Romeo, what happened? Romeo shook his head, putting on a good boy act. I'm fine. Laura, don't blame Elias, he didn't mean to push me. Laura turned to me, furious. Elias, what the hell is wrong with you? Try laying another finger on Romeo and see what happens. The blatant favoritism was impossible to ignore. Even though I'd lost my memory, it still stung to know that after 5 years of marriage, Laura would treat me like this, all for another man. I lowered my gaze, then noticed the Hermes bag in Laura's hand, and instantly thought of the 90 million. Suddenly, my mood lifted. Laura, let's go get the divorce finalized right now. Laura froze. You've really thought it through? A question mark practically popped up over my head. Didn't we already agree? Once I was discharged, we'd go finalize the divorce. Laura glanced at Romeo. Yes, I want a divorce. Romeo turned his head, looking at me with smug satisfaction. I sneered inwardly, knowing the kind of woman Laura was. Romeo definitely wouldn't be her last man. What the hell was he so proud about? Half an hour later, Laura and I arrived at the civil affairs office. There weren't many people getting divorced today, so it was soon our turn, but the clerk told us that the divorce couldn't be processed until 30 days later. That's when I found out, apparently, there's a mandatory cooling-off period for divorce now. I was instantly anxious. We couldn't get divorced right away. Is there any way you could speed things up? I asked. We're in a hurry. No need to cool off. We'd rather die than stay married. At that, Laura's beautiful face instantly darkened. The staffer looked apologetic. Sorry, sir. We have to follow standard procedures. As we walked out of the office, Laura turned and asked me, You're really that eager to divorce me? I shrugged. Come on. If we don't get divorced soon, how's your puppy boyfriend supposed to become your official man? Laura was speechless. That evening, when Laura came back from work, I was sitting at the table, enjoying a feast. Even though we couldn't get the divorce today, the gourmet food completely cured my bad mood. Seeing me eat, Laura looked a bit surprised. I glanced at her and instantly understood why. Earlier, when I asked the maid to serve the food, she'd mentioned I usually waited for Laura to come home before eating. Yeah, not anymore. I had zero interest in starving just to keep up some fake ritual. I told the maid to serve dinner immediately. Laura pinched the bridge of her nose and, like it was second nature, gave me an order. Go make me a cup of hangover tea. I replied without even looking up. I don't know how. Make it yourself. Laura stared at me, clearly shocked. She hadn't expected me to say no. After all, the old me had been hopelessly in love with her, hanging on her every word, never daring to disobey. If she said east, I wouldn't dare even glance west. Her words were practically sacred law to me. Laura's voice turned cold. Elias, what's that supposed to mean? Chapter 3. I hadn't planned on responding to her, but then I remembered we were still in the divorce cooling-off period. She could change her mind at any time and refuse to go through with it. To avoid any unnecessary trouble, I got up and went to make her the hangover tea. Laura took a sip and frowned. This doesn't taste right. I rolled my eyes. I told you, I don't know how to make this stuff. Laura looked at me thoughtfully. You really don't remember anything about us? Since I woke up, she's asked me that same question like 800 times. At this point, she might as well cut my skull open and examine my brain herself. Nope, I said. I don't remember a thing. Laura pressed her red lips together, looking a little disappointed. She had just turned to head upstairs when I called out to her. She glanced back at me, her expression shifting ever so slightly. But all I said was, after the divorce, can I take the suits, watches, shoes, and all that from the walk-in closet with me? I had zero emotional attachment to Laura anymore, but those luxury items she gave me, absolutely worth keeping. Even if I didn't wear them, I could flip them on a resale site and make some serious cash. Laura's face immediately turned even darker. Do whatever you want, she snapped before stomping upstairs. In the days that followed, Laura seemed insanely busy, out early, back late. I knew she was busy dating Romeo. I didn't mind. Being alone suited me just fine. The moment the cooling-off period ended, I called Laura, and we finally got the divorce certificate without any further hiccups. At the same time, I got a notification the money had hit my account. Seeing all those zeros, I couldn't stop grinning. Even Laura looked more pleasant now that I was rich. If there's nothing else, I'll be heading out, I said. Laura gave me a strange look, maybe because I was smiling so brightly. Still, she said, I'll give you a ride. I pointed to the electric scooter on the curb. No need. Pablo's giving me a lift. Before she could say anything else, I hopped on the scooter with Pablo and rode off. It was dinner time, so we found a roadside food stall nearby. I ordered a whole table's worth of dishes. While we waited for the food, I looked down at my phone. Pablo thought I was wallowing in sadness. He patted my shoulder in comfort. Bro, if you want to cry, just cry. No need to hold it in. I'm a guy too. I get how you feel. I looked up, confused. Why would I cry? With this kind of money, I can find a wife who's way prettier and way nicer than Laura. You mentioned there's a new bar that opened nearby, right? Pablo nodded. Yeah, just opened recently. I perked up instantly. Are there a lot of hot girls there? That night, the bar was buzzing with energy. Pablo and I sat in a booth while a pretty hostess gave me a shoulder massage as I sipped my drink. Suddenly, I spotted a tall, curvy woman strutting toward us. Pablo leaned in and whispered, "That's Jessica Koo, Laura's arch-nemesis. Miss Koo herself. You used to argue with her all the time because of Laura." Jessica stood in front of me, arms crossed. "Elias, aren't you afraid I'll tell Laura about you partying in here?" I shrugged. "We're divorced. She can't control what I do anymore." Jessica blinked in surprise. "You actually divorced her?" Before the accident, I was known for being a total wife guy, the type who'd never step foot in a bar, let alone flirt with women in one. Before I could answer, Pablo spoke up for me. He had a car accident not long ago, total memory loss. Jessica gave me a thoughtful look after hearing that. She kept staring at me intensely. I started feeling a little nervous and leaned over to whisper to Pablo, "Dude, did I, have a thing with her before?" Pablo nearly spit out his drink. "I have no idea." I raised an eyebrow. "Probably not. I mean, I used to be head over heels obsessed with Laura. No way I'd have eyes for anyone else." Jessica didn't stick around long. She turned and went off drinking with her girlfriends. A few minutes later, Pablo got a call and said he had to head home for something urgent. I left the bar too, but I didn't go back to Laura's villa. Instead, I took a cab to a hotel and booked the presidential suite for the night. Half asleep, I heard the doorbell ring. I got up to open the door. The moment it opened, a woman's figure lunged straight at me. Chapter 4. It was Jessica. What was she doing here? She wrapped her arms around my neck, staring straight into my eyes. Her lips moved softly as she called out, "Elias." The scent of alcohol on her told me she had definitely been drinking. "You looking for me?" I asked. Jessica nodded. "Yeah." No sooner had she spoken than she kissed me. I was completely stunned. What the hell was going on? My tipsy brain instantly sobered up, snapping back to my senses. I quickly pried her hands off me and stepped back, putting some space between us. "Jessica, you." Before I could finish my sentence, she suddenly closed her eyes and fainted right into my arms. I reached out and caught her just in time. The next morning, I was woken by shouting, "Elias, Elias." As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw Jessica lying beside me. She was smiling sweetly at me. "You need to take responsibility for what happened last night." I immediately sat up, explaining, "Nothing happened. Don't get the wrong idea." She had clung to me the entire night and refused to let go, so I had no choice but to let her sleep in my arms. But I never laid a finger on her. Jessica, however, acted like she didn't care about the facts. She reached out and hugged me tightly again. "I don't care. I want to be with you. I want to be your girlfriend." My eyes widened. I was genuinely shocked. She had a crush on me. Seeing that I was speechless, Jessica poked my chest and pouted, "Elias, haven't you noticed that I like you? I waited so long for you to finally divorce Laura. I'm telling you, you can't break my heart again. Got it?" Jessica was definitely beautiful, and honestly, more pleasant than Laura, but this was only the second time I'd seen her. Things were moving a little too fast for me. I licked my lips. "I don't remember anything from before. You should at least give me some time to get used to things. Let's start as friends and see how it goes." "Okay." Maybe she thought I made a fair point, because Jessica loosened her grip. "All right." She tilted her head and smiled at me. "Then take me out for breakfast right now." Looking at that smile, I couldn't help thinking, damn, this girl really is cute when she smiles. All right. After breakfast, I finally saw the young lady out. Not one to waste time, I immediately returned to the villa. As soon as I walked in, I saw Laura eating breakfast. She looked up at me with a cold expression. "You didn't come home last night. Where were you?" I replied casually, "Out with a friend." The money had already landed in my account, so I no longer had to watch her moods or walk on eggshells. I headed toward the stairs. "I'm going up to pack my things." "Elias." Laura stopped me. "You can keep staying here if you want. You don't have to move out." I looked at her, surprised. What was she playing at? But I was in no mood to try figuring out her intentions anymore. We're divorced. Living here wouldn't be appropriate. I'll move out. And with that, I went upstairs. I had a lot of stuff, expensive stuff, so it took me the whole morning to finish packing. I bought a luxury penthouse, fully furnished and move-in ready, and moved in immediately. Once I was settled, I dragged Pablo with me to a luxury car dealership. I bought 2 Mercedes, one for me, and one for Pablo. He was over the moon and said the luckiest thing he ever did in life was becoming friends with me. After that, my life became easy and carefree. With money in the bank, I was living the dream, eating, drinking, and partying every day. But after a while, it got boring, and I started thinking about getting a job. When Jessica heard I was job hunting, she called and asked me to come work for her, as her assistant. I figured an assistant job sounded pretty chill, so I agreed. The next day, I started working at her company. Chapter 5. Jessica didn't give me any hard tasks, just making her coffee, eating out with her, and otherwise letting me do whatever I wanted. Life was pretty good, honestly, easy, relaxed, and totally stress-free. On Friday night, Jessica asked me to accompany her to a dinner meeting. When we entered the private dining room, she had me sit next to her. Several company execs at the table turned to look at me and started gossiping. Chairwoman Koo, isn't your assistant the ex-husband of that woman from the Lin family? You've got it wrong, it's former husband. He got dumped by Laura, and now he's chasing after Chairwoman Koo like a little simp. No wonder he looked familiar. I heard he used to deliver takeout. They mocked and ridiculed me like it was sport. If it weren't for Jessica, I would have flipped the table and walked out. But the next second, Jessica stood up and slammed her wine glass onto the floor. She shouted, "Elias is my boyfriend now. You all better show him some damn respect, or I'll make sure you regret it." I didn't expect Jessica to stand up for me like that. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't moved. As soon as she said that, the table went dead silent. The execs looked at each other awkwardly before forcing smiles at me. "Elias, we were just joking around. Please don't take it seriously." I gave a faint smirk. The Koo Group was a top-tier company. They obviously wouldn't dare offend Jessica. I was just about to respond when I caught a glimpse of someone at the door. It was Laura. She didn't look happy. She must have overheard what was said. But honestly, I couldn't care less. An hour later, dinner ended. I helped Jessica out of the restaurant. "I told you not to drink so much. Now you can't even walk straight." She was practically leaning her whole body on me, giggling like a fool. "Well, I've got you with me, so I feel totally safe." I looked up and saw Laura standing a few steps ahead. I tried to walk around and ignore her, but she called out to me, "What's going on between you and Jessica?" I was fed up with her. She was the one who cheated on me, made me the fool in the relationship, and now she's acting like I owe her an explanation. What a joke. "That's my personal business." Laura frowned. "Elias, you weren't like this before." I chuckled. "Miss Lin, have you forgotten? I have amnesia. I don't remember a damn thing about the past." With that, I walked away with Jessica. The next morning, when Jessica woke up, I was in the kitchen making porridge. I glanced back at her. "It's just about ready." She gave me a kiss. "I'll go brush my teeth and wash my face." Then, after she left, I touched the spot where she kissed me. My face felt a little hot. A few minutes later, the doorbell rang. I went to open it, and saw Laura standing outside, holding breakfast. She smiled and held it out to me. "Elias, I bought your favorite, meat buns. Let's eat together." I looked at her coolly. "I don't like meat buns." Laura didn't believe it. "That's impossible. You used to buy them all the time." I replied lazily. "Maybe it was you who liked them. That's why I bought them." Her smile stiffened. I'd hit the nail on the head. Even if I didn't remember the past, I could still tell Laura didn't marry me out of love. It was just a fling, a novelty. Girls like her, rich and spoiled, had probably never seen someone as broke as me. I was just a phase, and once the excitement wore off, so did her interest. Chapter 6. Elias, are you still bothered about Romeo? Don't worry, I've already broken up with him. There's nothing to be bothered about. You can be with whoever you want. It's none of my business. I don't believe you. Laura stared at me. Elias, you love me. You're just like this now because you lost your memory and forgot our past. I let out a cold laugh. What past? The one where you cheated on me and kept a puppy boyfriend while I kept forgiving you, hoping you'd come back. Laura's face turned pale. That's not true. I know I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Elias, who is it? Jessica walked over and wrapped her arms around me. When Laura saw Jessica, she swayed a little, like she couldn't accept what she was seeing. You really are with Jessica now? Before I could respond, Jessica chuckled and said, Laura, you're already divorced from Elias. You've got no business meddling in his life anymore. I heard you've been getting pretty cozy with that 20-year-old college boy. So why are you still hung up on my boyfriend now? Laura bit her lip. Her eyes locked on me like she was waiting for me to deny it. I looked at her calmly. You've seen it for yourself. I'm doing just fine. If you have nothing else to say, please leave. Don't come bothering me again. Laura froze. You think me coming to see you is bothering you? Without even thinking, I said, yes. Her eyes instantly reddened. She turned and stumbled away. I shut the door and walked back to the kitchen. Jessica followed behind me. After hesitating a moment, she asked, Elias, do you ever wish to remember the past? I was stirring the porridge and didn't look at her, just shook my head. No, I'm perfectly satisfied with how things are now. Forgetting Laura and sealing away that failed marriage, honestly, it's been a blessing. Sometimes, you've got to learn to let go of yourself if you want to be happy. Jessica breathed a sigh of relief. I got along really well with Jessica. I enjoyed cooking, and after work, I'd go buy groceries and make meals for her. Because of that, she even moved into my place to enjoy the food fresh from the kitchen. I couldn't help but tease her. Aren't you afraid of the gossip? A single girl moving in with a guy. Jessica didn't care in the slightest. What's there to be afraid of? I don't live for other people's opinions. One afternoon, we went out for lunch. Unexpectedly, we ran into Laura and Romeo, but from the looks of it, it wasn't a date. They were clearly arguing. Laura suddenly stood up and shouted, I said it's over. Stop trying to contact me. Romeo stood up too and grabbed her hand. Laura, I don't agree to breaking up. If there's something about me you don't like, just say it, I'll change. Okay. Pablo had told me before that Romeo came from a poor background. Ever since Laura picked him up, his life had drastically improved, so of course he didn't want to let go. But I wasn't surprised she was dumping him. Women like Laura, rich, spoiled, used to getting what they want, they're just playing around. It's never going to be forever with any one man. Laura yanked her hand away and said coldly, I told you it's over. Don't cling to me. She turned around and spotted me and Jessica. Her expression changed slightly. Romeo also saw me, and his face twisted with anger. It must be because of you. You said something to Laura that made her dump me. As he spoke, he raised his hand to hit me. I dodged easily, and he ended up falling flat on the ground. I frowned. Your drama has nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into your mess. Laura stepped forward and grabbed my arm. Romeo, listen carefully. The man I love is my husband. You'll never be able to compare to him. Chapter 7. I really couldn't understand what Laura was trying to pull this time. Jessica looked at her with visible annoyance. Miss Lynn, you and Elias have been divorced for a while now. He's my boyfriend, my future husband. Please show some self-respect. I pulled my arm out of Laura's grip. Stop talking nonsense. Go play with your puppy boyfriend. Jessica smiled in satisfaction and said to me, Darling, let's go eat somewhere else. I had no desire to stay there either. I turned to leave when suddenly I heard Laura yell out, Elias, watch out. I looked back and saw her lying on the floor, blood dripping down her forehead. The sight was shocking. Romeo stood nearby, holding a wine bottle, completely panicked. The next moment, he dropped the bottle and ran for it. It was obvious he had intended to attack me. Laura got hurt trying to protect me. Over half an hour later, I stood by Laura's hospital bed. Her forehead was wrapped in white gauze, and she looked pale and fragile. If there's nothing else, I'll head out. You should get some rest. Elias. Laura stopped me. Do you not love me anymore? I couldn't help but laugh. How could she even ask me that? Did she really think I was born just to revolve around her? Or that just because she got injured saving me, I'd be so touched that I'd run back into her arms? What a joke. Laura, the moment you betrayed me, we were done. I never believed she truly loved me. It was all possessiveness. She just couldn't stand that I might love someone else. Laura began to cry. Elias, if you hadn't had that car accident, if you hadn't lost your memory, you wouldn't be like this now. No matter how badly I treated you before, you never would have left me. It was the first time I'd seen her cry. She was truly upset this time. Amnesia or not, the result would have been the same. I was never going to stand in place forever, waiting for you. She burst into louder sobs. Watching her cry just irritated me. I know clearly that whatever we had is over. Even if I get my memory back one day, I'll never regret the choice I made today. Leaving the hospital room, I saw Jessica sitting quietly on a bench. I walked over, and she lifted her head. Is Laura okay? I sat down beside her. She'll be fine, just needs a few days of rest. Jessica responded with a soft, oh, and fell silent. After a while, she asked, Laura got hurt trying to save you. Did that move you? I thought, what's with this gloomy look? Could it be she's worried I'll go back to Laura? No. If she hadn't been messing around with Romeo in the first place, none of this would have happened. I took Jessica's hand. Don't overthink things. I'm not the kind of guy who eats where he's already thrown away the food. Jessica gave a little smile. Well then, I'm relieved. I raised an eyebrow. I thought Laura would finally give up and stop bothering me, but I was wrong. That evening, Jessica and I were walking out of the office when, from a distance, we spotted her. Laura was standing there, holding a bouquet of roses. She looked straight at me. Elias, you were the one who proposed to me back then. Now it's my turn. Will you marry me again? She held up a delicate gift box with a dazzling ring inside. A crowd had gathered, some were Coup Group employees. Laura continued. Elias, I really do love you. I wouldn't have been with you otherwise. Everything that happened before. I was confused. I lost my mind. But now I'm clear, Ed. I just want to be with you. I want to prove to everyone that my love for you is real. Chapter 8. I knew exactly what Laura was trying to do. This whole spectacle was meant to pressure me into remarrying her. Jessica, clearly upset, let go of my hand in frustration. I looked at Laura, and under her hopeful gaze, I suddenly pulled Jessica into my arms and kissed her. Jessica froze. It took her quite a while to react. The bouquet and ring in Laura's hands fell to the ground, and her expression was one of pure disbelief. I finally let go of Jessica and said gently, "Silly girl, you're the one I love. No more getting jealous, okay?" Jessica blushed and snuggled into my chest. When I looked back at Laura again, I noticed her eyes had gone red. I hadn't just turned down her proposal, I had kissed Jessica in front of everyone. That was as good as slapping her across the face. Her voice trembled. "Elias, you really don't want me anymore." I held Jessica's hand and replied coldly, "Laura, don't ask questions that no longer matter. My girlfriend wouldn't like that." Laura looked like she was about to collapse. Staggering backward a few steps, I sighed. "Let it go, Laura." With that, I led Jessica toward the car. Even as we drove away, Laura remained frozen in place, not moving an inch despite all the people whispering around her. Suddenly, heavy rain began to pour from the sky. The crowd scattered, but she didn't budge. Watching that scene, I felt nothing, like I was just seeing a stranger. I realized then that it must be because I didn't love Laura anymore. That's why. Whether she cheated on me with Romeo or cried and begged for another chance, I remained completely indifferent. After that day, I didn't see Laura again. I heard she fell seriously ill and was in the hospital for 2 weeks. After Jessica and I officially got together, she suggested I help her manage the company, but I turned her down. I didn't like sitting in an office all day staring at spreadsheets and reports. I loved food, and after careful thought, I decided to open a restaurant. Jessica fully supported me. "As long as it's something you truly love doing, I'll support you with everything I've got." I smiled and patted her head. That was the difference between her and Laura. With Jessica, I didn't have to pretend. I could be completely, unapologetically myself. Jessica even gave me some money to start the business, saying she wanted to be the biggest investor. "If it makes a profit, it's yours. If it loses money, I'll take the hit." I laughed and pulled her into a hug. "Marrying a woman like you, I've truly struck gold." Jessica shyly punched my chest, her blushing face full of sweetness. "Who's marrying you? You haven't even proposed yet." I pulled out a dazzling diamond ring from my pocket. "Is it shiny enough? Do you like it? Will you marry me?" Jessica burst into tears the moment she saw the ring. She hadn't expected me to actually propose. Through choked sobs, she asked, "Are you serious?" I slipped the ring onto her finger, wiped away her tears, and whispered dotingly, "Of course, I want to marry you, be with you forever." Jessica threw her arms around me. "I love you." When her parents found out about us, they didn't object or look down on my background. Quite the opposite, they treated me with respect, even like their own son. 2 months later, Jessica and I held a grand wedding. As she walked toward me in her wedding gown, I was overwhelmed with emotion. My eyes burned. It turns out that marrying the woman you love really can make a man cry. The internet wasn't lying. I took her hand in mine, our eyes locking in a gaze full of understanding. We both smiled instinctively. "My wife, I love you." And just like that, I caught hold of the happiness that truly belonged to me.